Today, with the NHS in crisis and the economy in recession, Rishi Sunak just announced the most meaningless political strategy since Brexit means Brexit.
People don't want politicians who promise the earth and then fail to deliver.
You were elected on a manifesto that was literally named after Brexit after you promised in 2016 that Brexit would deliver an immediate £20 billion saving, and in fact it cost us £100 billion. You also promised that our small businesses would benefit from less red tape after Brexit, and in fact they're being strangled by more red tape.
They want government to focus less on politics and more on the things they care about.
Remind me, who was it who resigned from Boris Johnson's government, leading to us spending the entire summer in a Tory leadership contest while the country slipped into recession? Oh yeah, it was you.
The cost of living, too high.
The Bank of England has just confirmed that your Brexit has added 6% to the cost of food.
Waiting times in the NHS, too long.
It's your party that's been in charge of the NHS for the last 12 years.
Illegal migration, far too much.
Your Home Secretary just admitted that illegal migration is caused by your failure to provide safe and legal ways for people to claim asylum in the UK.
So I want to make 5 promises. We will halve inflation this year.
That's already predicted to happen, so you wouldn't actually need to do anything.
We will grow the economy.
We're already predicted to be coming out of the recession next year, so we'll be growing anyway.
We will make sure our national debt is falling.
You were the Chancellor while the UK had the worst recession among top G7 economies. You were also in charge of the economy while the government fraudulently wasted billions on useless PPE. So while obviously furlough was going to create a lot of debt, you made it worse, and now you're promising to clean up your own mess? Do you want a cookie?
NHS waiting lists will fall.
Again, just like when he says we'll grow the economy and we'll reduce national debt, he's not saying by how much. All these things are in crisis. It's his job to make them better. Simply showing up to work doesn't deserve a medal.
We will pass new laws to stop small boats.
The Tory nationality and borders law was supposed to stop the asylum boats, and that's already been passed. Just like the Rwanda policy is already active, and that was supposed to stop the small boats. So this is just another bit of empty politics with no real result other than acting as Viagra for racists. But he's presenting this as if he's giving the public clear goals to judge him on.
We're either delivering for you or we're not.
But the moment it's pointed out to him just how flimsy those targets are, he says,
in all of these things, look, I've deliberately not put a specific month on each of them because I don't think that's responsible or the right thing to do with goals that are so complicated, where many of the forces that will impact our ability to hit them are out of my control as well.
So there's no clear deadline for any of these targets, and if you don't meet them, it's because there were other factors involved? Way to take responsibility.
I fully expect the country to hold me and the government to account for how much effort we're putting in to working on those priorities.
Did this plonker just ask to be put on an effort card? I feel like he's about to start releasing Instagram stories of him writing really hard or running from office to office as if that proves he's doing his best. And the thing is, we know he's not, because one of those goals is growing the economy. And his Chancellor says that rejoining the EU single market would grow the economy, they're simply choosing not to. So it is a matter of fact that they will not be doing their best to help us with this poverty crisis. And so we get back to the usual Tory strategy of, it's not on us to fix these problems, it's on you.
No government, no Prime Minister can change a country by force of will or diktat alone. The choices we make as individuals, as workers, business owners, parents, all add up to something far greater.
Now I know we joke about how the Tories often sound like Lord Farquaad.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
But it's starting to get eerily similar.
Change also requires sacrifice and hard work. It's a big risk for a politician to say that.
I mean, he's one of the richest people in the country, telling the poorest people in the country that they need to make more sacrifices and acting like he's the one taking the risk.
If we're going to deliver this better future, people will have to work hard.
Ah yes, the traditional Tory line of if the poor people don't make it, it's because they're lazy.
So our growth plan will look at how we can support those who can to move back into work, including through the welfare system.
What that means is cutting people's benefits to try and force them back into work. So let's be clear here. The government says the answer to our economic problems is to grow the economy. But according to the government's own experts, rejoining the EU single market would deliver an extra 4% to our GDP, an equivalent of £100 billion. So instead of fixing the Brexit poverty that they inflicted on this country, they've instead chosen to attack people on universal credit. They are making the poorest people in this country pay for their fuck up, while telling them that everything's going well.
Because you can see change happening. You can feel it.
No, that's just hypothermia setting in because people couldn't afford to turn on the heating.
Just look at our state schools. empowered by reform, in some of the most deprived parts of the country, producing some of the best results.
You bragged about taking money away from the most deprived areas in the country, whilst your government took the best grades from state schools and gave them to private schools.
Seizing the opportunities of Brexit to ensure our regulatory system is agile and pro-innovation.
You're talking about making our laws even more different from the EU's laws, even though your own experts say that it's those differences in laws that's making trade more expensive, which is what is crippling our economy. And on the strikes,
We're very keen on dialogue. The government's door is always open.
well, that's just bullshit because you've already said that you're not willing to discuss pay. But at least he was right on one thing.
We're either delivering for you or we're not.
So, what do you think?